No end in sight to the violent crime crisis in America's biggest cities. In New York City, a 3-year-old girl was shot on Friday as her father was picking her up from daycare. That suspect is still at large. As is in Philadelphia, police releasing surveillance video in hopes of finding this other suspect who robbed and carjacked a taxi driver last week. You can see him in the video pulling out his gun and pistol whipping the taxi driver. And as if on cue, Democrats now want to sound tough on crime. Axios reporting that later today, President Biden will ask Congress for $32 billion to fund the police to combat the surge in crime and avoid a Democratic bloodbath in the midterms. But such a stance is expected to place the president at odds with his party's left, who continue to call for defunding the police. Trace Gallagher, what say you?
Or eradicating the police. You know, in Los Angeles, the police are actually telling people, if you can believe this, not to drive a nice car and not to go outside with fancy jewelry. And you have to wonder, what happens if you only own a nice car, God forbid? And what happens if your wedding ring happens to be really nice? What do? Just shelter inside all the time? It's an acknowledgement by the police they cannot handle the criminal activity in Los Angeles, because criminals are victims now, of course, and the cops are the villains. And what happens is you have this situation where the police are now giving these tips. Look at this on the screen. Travel in groups and remain in well-lit areas. Be aware of surroundings and people around you. Take a different route home after shopping, and do not resist if approached during a robbery, right? Armed robbery, don't resist. I mean, these are something that the State Department, Kayleigh McEnany, would give you if you were traveling to Libya, right?
Well said.
Circa 2004. And this is in Los Angeles, one of the second largest city in the country. This is unbelievable what's happening here. And it just goes to show that we've got these prosecutors who are saying, listen, the criminals now, you're going to be out in 2 hours, but the rest of you need to be watching where you are, because you have no idea who's peering over your shoulder.
Right. Trace, that list, you know, what that is a hallmark of is inevitability. And Cassie, you contrast that inevitability, essentially, of crime happening anywhere and everywhere in these major cities to now what President Biden is all of a sudden advocating for, right, as he's clearly trying to distance himself from the progressive left, trying to persuade voters that he cares about them, he cares about their safety. His proposal includes $2 billion more than the last enacted for the current fiscal year amount, and it would increase resources for federal policing, state and local, and also double the funding for community policing, and adding $500 million for so-called community violence interventions. That's a tenfold increase, Cassie. My question to you is, will this work?
Well, I think to your point, and Trace, is about that we're at this moment of inevitability because police departments are at their wits' end. They've been screaming for this. Don't defund us, plus up our funding. We need more resources. Things are going poorly, and it fell on deaf ears, and now they're looking at the political science of this and trying to do something about it. But I have to tell you, over a year ago, I was in a polling presentation where they told us that crime, right next to the economy, crime was the #1 issue amongst voters across the board. No party line associated with that. Because people were feeling that crime that just happened in the bad parts of town was now happening in their backyard. And while they were saying that and screaming for that from the rooftops to say, please help us, Democrats were parading around with defund the police, were making excuses for looters, saying, oh, I bet they just really need it, and you have insurance, so don't worry about it. And now we're seeing the consequences of that rhetoric. We're seeing the consequences of them giving excuses to the criminals. And the law-abiding citizens, we become the victims, and we're the ones who just have to deal with it. And I think we should make Democrats deal with it in November.
I love that. And Harris, we have had an ongoing conversation about all the needed pressures and all the needed corrections to restore our city's safety. It includes advocating for police. It includes prosecuting crimes. Like there's a lot in that link, in the criminal justice link. Mayor Adams here said this weekend that the crime in New York City makes this city a laughingstock. And he also praised and supported NYPD. This is part and parcel of the entire holistic approach needed. He said, don't let anyone break your spirit to NYPD. He said, don't let them tell you that New Yorkers don't love the men and women of the NYPD. He said, everywhere I go, they say, protect our police. He told them, ignore the noise, ignore social media, because people of the city are watching, and the people of the city want their city back.
Well, look, he's a former cop here in New York of 22 years. There's no doubt that he has love in his heart for the men and women of blue to succeed. There's no doubt that if they don't succeed, he won't succeed, because he came in at this time and he promised so much as a brand new mayor, right? The problem is he's not dealing with the one person who doesn't wear blue, unless it's a blue suit on a Sunday that he happened to put on, and that is the liberal DA here in New York. He's not dealing with Alvin Bragg. He's not dealing with him in a way that will allow for the liberal policies to be removed, and for the recidivism, and for those police officers not to be, I mean, I don't know if they don't feel loved, but I can tell you they're exhausted because they keep seeing the same people out on the streets, right? Now, I was just in L.A., Trace, and all anybody was talking about was recalling Gascon. They were having hits on Rodeo Drive. They were having hits in Compton. Robberies, burglaries. I mean, it's all the same. It's bizarre. You say, well, don't wear this, don't drive that. What happens when they hit people who barely have anything? They just want the cash. They want the stroller. I'm not kidding. It's bad. You know who knows what's coming? Mayor Eric Adams. But he's going to have to do more than just love on his men and women in blue, which is very important. Don't get me wrong. Having his support is huge. But having his judgment and his leadership to take on a liberal DA, that's bigger.
That's right. And on the
now.
That's right. And on the national scene also here, we have AOC representing one of the districts here. And what's the squad going to say? Going back to the bird's eye view of President Biden now requesting all of this money and all of a sudden taking a pro-police, pro-safety, pro-law and order stance. How's that going to play out with these most vociferous members of the party leaders who say they still want to defund the police?
Oh, well, we've already heard it. AOC last week, you're losing young voters, President Biden. They're going to call him out for it. AOC is not going to be silent, nor is the squad. But welcome to a midterm election year. This is what it looks like when Democrats talk about crime, act as if they care. January, President Biden talked about crime in a State of the Union, saying we want to fund the police. February, he comes to New York City. March, he talks about putting in his budget. Why didn't he do all this last year? And why in the 2020 primary, when he was asked, do you want to divert funding from the police, did he say absolutely? Oh, wait, he was trying to win over the AOCs in the base of the Democrat Party. It's political opportunism, and it stinks.
That's why you come to Outnumbered, ladies and gentlemen, for receipts.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.